Forced to work from home by your employer? Laid off or feeling depressed at home? Do you want to make money working from anywhere? We'll show you how to do it from your couch. It's time for another episode of the Work From Home Show. Coming to you from their homes in Austin, Texas and Tampa, Florida, here are your hosts, Adam and Naresh.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Work From Home Show. Shout out to all our homies, homeboys, homegirls, home trans, all the work from homers out there. I'm Naresh Fissa with the one and only Adam Schrader. Adam, how you doing?
I am doing well. Been a good year.
Well, let's talk about that some more, definitely, because we're going to go through some stats and the episodes that you and I do together, which is only 2 a year now. They tend to do really, really well, statistically speaking. We'll get to that. We'll get to how our work from home years have gone. This was our fourth complete season because we started in 2020.
Yep, fourth season, sixth episode. Yep.
Exactly. This was only supposed to be one season, 6 episodes, and now we're on season 4. And like we announced the last time we were both together, there is going to be a season 5 and a season 6, and we're probably going to be done after that. If we do anything else after season 6, it'll be just like one episode here and there that's published. We're doing well. As you've heard, this year's big name guests keep coming back to us saying they want to come on the show. We've gotten quite a few. And Adam, let's have a recap of the years. When we first started in 2020, we were in lockdowns, pandemic. I haven't followed everything that you've been doing this year. I don't think you've followed everything I've been doing this year. But it seems like your work from home career has really taken off and is on autopilot.
Yeah, so let's see. At this point in time, I've got my routine down. Still homeschooling. It actually got even better this year because Erin just quit her full-time job.
No way, I didn't even know that.
Yep. She's going to be working 2 or 3 days a week as she wants.
She's she is taking a break right now, or? She just put in her notice and she's scaling.
No, she officially, her last day of her job was the 19th or 20th of this month of December. And then she will, in January, it was before that. I don't know, sometime this year. She's gotten like 2 or 3 weeks off. And then in January, she's going to start up at another job, just working 2 or 3 days a week because of the way my work from home job has progressed.
Wow. Well, that's something. Let's talk a little bit more about that and also the homeschooling stuff, because when we first had our homeschooling episode, my first kid was like 2 months old. And now there are 2 kids, and that first kid turns 4 in 2 weeks. But going back to Erin, so why did you guys decide that she should scale back from? Is it just because you were like, hey, I'm doing really well financially, scale back, or the kids you have 4 kids, so is it because the kids you need an extra hand, or
Nope. What's the just we're making enough money. Anytime there's a crooked number at the beginning of your paycheck at the end of the year, you like it. Assuming it's more than 5 digits long at least. So we were at a position where it didn't make a huge financial difference to us whether she was working 3 or 4 days a week, but she wanted to have more control over her schedule because healthcare, you don't really have any control over your schedule. And so we said, you know what, we can afford it, do it. So,
wow.
Yeah, why not? Why work more than you have to, right?
Well, it depends. I have a different philosophy. My philosophy is if you like what you do, which I think you like what you do.
I like what I do. She doesn't like working in the healthcare field.
Well, I know a lot of people like that. And why did she want to go in? Was it a family member or was it a friend who?
Why she wanted to go into healthcare in the first place?
Yeah. Or that specific job.
She just thought she could do it. it looked like a career she would like, which she does enjoy doing it, but it looked like a career she could do for a long time. But then, pretty much like everybody who got into the medical field, they get burned out and
Yeah, I
want
hear that a lot. I hear that a lot with
to find a way out.
healthcare. I mean, I'm surrounded by healthcare workers, from physicians, hospital administrators, down to techs and intro nurses. Ask them the same question that I just asked you, like, why did you go into it, type of thing. But I also hear it from people in corporate, and we'll talk about this, people in corporate America. They are like burnt out, not because of how many hours they're working. They're just burnt out just by the BS. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, that's fair too. Yep.
So
Yeah.
with the homeschooling stuff, I believe you have one, maybe two kids in public school now, or
One. Yep.
is the second kid going to be going, or he wants to?
No, he has no desire. My oldest will be going into high school next year.
Wow.
Second born will be going into, officially, he'd be going into sixth grade. And the twins, I think fourth grade.
Didn't you
would
say
be
your
going-
twins taught themselves how to read when they were like 4?
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy.
I'll take credit for good parenting, but no, yeah, they taught themselves how to read at 4.
I'm going through the whole school process right now. I know we've done some episodes on homeschooling. We've interviewed experts on different education styles, Montessori, homeschooling, public school, private school. I went to private school my entire life, from before pre-K through graduate school. And so right now, we're open to a lot of different ideas. At the time when we recorded, I was very open, and I'm still open to the idea of it. I just personally, I don't know how you manage it with 4 kids. So that's one thing. But it's not just me. It's not about me. I feel like when we sent our older kid off to daycare when he was 2.5, he did improve in a lot of ways that we weren't able to improve at home. For example, his eating habits, his language, I feel like all improved because he went to daycare. I know every family is different. Every kid is different. First off, I don't see it as you have to do homeschool or send them to private school or public school or just send them outside the house, because I still do a lot of teaching at home. You did an episode on homeschooling saying that you're only spending 20 minutes per subject with your kids, and I don't spend 20, but maybe like 15. So I feel like they can get a good immersive education outside the house, but also get a good something different in the house too. That's how I see it.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I mean, if you think about it, you're in school, you're in class for what, 45 minutes per class. Of that time, they're probably not getting much more instruction outside of 20 minutes on a daily basis, let's be honest.
And for me, it's not just about the instruction. It's like I said, if they want to learn the textbook stuff, great. They'll get that at school. It'll take 45 minutes to teach it. But it's all the other stuff that they're getting that aren't math or science. I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff that they're getting too, but to me, I feel like it's important that they experience all of that too, and not just be with daddy the entire time. That's just how I feel about it. The statistics clearly, like I said, we've done episodes about this. The statistics show if you homeschool your kids, the kid's going to be homeschooled kids score better on exams. They score better on tests. They're smarter in general. You can't deny that. I'm willing to sacrifice some of that for some other experiences that they would get if they were to go to school outside the house. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah. Well, the younger 3 have actually started on Tuesday and Thursday. They go to a homeschool co-op where there's like, I don't know, 10 kids, and they're there from 9 to 3. They take like an hour and a half lunch or something like that, and they cover a bunch of different topics, and they love that. Like and this is the big difference between and what you can do and what you can't do with it, is they actually get upset when they're not going to co-op. Like they do like a few, like 6 or 7 weeks, and then they take 2 weeks off so that if families want to travel, they can travel, or they, for the holidays, they break for 2 or 3 weeks, and they get sad whenever they don't have to go to co-op. and they get really excited whenever co-op's starting back up. Like, so, I mean, that's a much different scenario than my 8th grader who comes home and is like, oh, thank God I don't have to go to school for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's just a different environment.
We'll see. I mean, I was like your 8th grader, but I
Yeah.
know people, like my wife tells me how much she loved, high school, and I mean, I detested really high school.
I enjoyed school, but I really enjoyed not going to school too. Like
Yeah.
I would eagerly await the, last day of the semester or, summer vacation rolling around, and I would dread the end of summer. But I mean, even during the school year, I liked it. But, they love it while they're in it, and they enjoy their time without it, but they get really sad whenever it's not over.
The problem I had, and this goes back to your teaching 15-minute subjects, I think they should start school later instead of, some of these schools start at like 7:45 a.m.
Mhm.
Like you have to be in the room, otherwise they count you as tardy. I would start school later. I think a lot of the problem is they're starting so dang early. You're dealing with all this traffic because of work. I would start school at like 9 a.m., make it like 9 to 2, and just have shorter classes and get more done during the actual classes. Just 30-minute classes, do the lesson, get through stuff, make it quick. That way the kids aren't so burnt out and tired or sleepy or whatever. 9 to 2, and then do the extracurriculars like from 2 to 4 or so, and that way kids have more time to spend at home or friends, family, whatever it might be. That's how I would do it. I don't think it would stop the quality of learning at all.
Yeah, well, you got to remember that
Parents
as much as
can't
people
get
don't
off
want
that.
to say it, yeah, I mean, part of public school is daycare.
Yeah.
That's just part of it.
That's how a lot of people view school. It's daycare for parents.
I mean,
So,
it's needed. Otherwise,
Yeah.
some areas of the economy would be destroyed if they had to, be home at 2:00 to get their kid from school.
we saw it during the pandemic. We did some episodes on it. Parents didn't know what to do when these kids were at home 24 hours. They're like, holy smokes, what am I supposed to do? I have nowhere to drop
Yeah.
them off for 10 hours.
Well, I mean,
a day.
especially if they were in an environment where they have to go into work. What are you going to do with your kid?
Yeah.
If you've got to go to work and you've got a 12-hour shift, and your kid gets off school at 2 instead of 4 or 5, it's a lot more childcare you need.
Let's go over some quick feedback. We've gotten some social media, some notes, but I want to share this note because it ties into what we're talking about. This is from listener Paula, and she sent us a note. Thanks for the feedback, Paula. I don't know if you're going to like it, Adam. She said, I was searching for a podcast to listen to while I was working from home. Well, you came to the right place. The first episode I listened to with you guys, I really liked. However, season 3, episode 52, so that's exactly a year ago, it is so out of touch for a majority of remote workers that are parents. It sounds like you guys are new parents and hire a staff for mundane tasks. Saying you would be bored if you didn't have a job is saying you absolutely do nothing around the house or interact with your children. I have never wanted to share my opinion through social media. So this person contacted us through Facebook. I've never wanted to share my opinion through social media, but it was very ridiculous how you guys toot your own horns when you apparently do nothing other than project manage and hire someone to do your job. That was the end of her message.
This person doesn't know what I do.
Remember we did this episode and people actually liked it a lot. What we talked about was we're basically like, I don't know how full-time stay-at-home people, why would you do that? Like, why don't you get a job and take care of your kids? We said something like that. If I didn't have work to do, I would get so bored taking care of my kids. And so this person took offense to what I had to say. I remember you saying some stuff that was somewhat similar.
Yeah.
I still maintain the same thing. It's good to work. It's good for your kids to see you work. It's good for your kids to see you getting ready, leaving the house if you work outside the house, or if you work in the house. It's good to see for your kids to see you in meetings talking about stuff that they don't understand. That's something that they should aspire to. I think it's bad for them to see that you are 100% devoted to them and that they are constantly the center of your attention. I think as they grow up, that can become a really bad thing. And I'm speaking as somebody who grew up with a homemaker. My mom was stay at home. It actually made sense for everybody, from us, the kids, to my dad, to my mom, eventually for my mom to get work as we got older, to find something to do. And now in almost retirement age, she's so happy that she has her work. Really happy. She really enjoys it, and she's still working part-time. I think working is a good thing for the kids. If you can make good money while you're at it, even better. I'm part of a group called Stay at Home Dads Married to Doctors. Actually, it was a group that through this podcast, one
it's
of
very
our
specific.
Yeah. Through this podcast, I found out about it because the guest told us about it. I don't know if we're going to be publishing the episodes soon. Joe Saul Sehi, that's what his name was. People post in there all the time. Not working, not having an income definitely affects the marriage. Even if you have 3 kids, 4 kids, it definitely affects the family. It definitely affects the marriage, your relationship with your wife, your relationship with your kids. It's really sad reading these stories of these men who are full-time, 100% stay at home. The kids start not respecting them as the kids get older, almost kind of like look down on them, the wives. I read about it, and then they say, well, I want to get back into the workforce now, and it's been 10 to 12 years since they had a job, and they have to start very low, almost just start a new career all over again at the bottom. I consider myself to be pretty educated, at least on paper, and I have a lot of skills, and I think you should put it to good use. If you have the education, if you have the skills, which I know you do too, even before you got into what you're doing now with online real estate sales, like with technology, with IT type of stuff, web development, those are some really hardcore skills that you can put to good use, and you can still raise your kids while putting those skills to good use.
Yeah. I mean, I would just say to that person, I mean, in my day-to-day life, I work, I make good money, I homeschool my kids, I do all of the laundry, I do all of the dishes. We have a housekeeper come in to do the deep cleaning every other week. I make sure my kids finish all of the work that I assign for them, make sure my oldest son finishes all his homework, take them to their activities in the evenings, and if they have stuff during the day. So, I mean, if that's doing nothing and sitting around being useless, then I guess she can count that as useless.
Yeah, I think we really triggered her. That's why she reached out through social media. Something was just triggering towards her. And now I have other dads and moms reaching out to me because they know I'm that guy who works at home and who takes care of the kids. And they're asking me, hey, like, where does your son go to music class? Like, what activities should I put my 3-year-old in? Like, they're reaching out to me, or even just when they see our kids sleeping, like they'll come over and see how well sleep trained our kids are. Like, literally, we just drop the 1-year-old in this crib, or the 3.5-year-old or almost 4-year-old. We'll just put him in the bed, quick bedtime story, and he goes to sleep by himself. And they're just like blown away. Like, how did you do that? Like, what did you do? This woman, thanks for the feedback. Keep it coming. hello@workfromhomeshow.com, hello@workfromhomeshow.com, or reach out on Facebook or Twitter. Keep the feedback coming. We love it. But we're going to have to respectfully disagree with you, Paula.
Yeah, we'll go with the respectfully.
Respectfully. Let's go over some stats. We had some episodes that did really, really well. Surprisingly, season 4 was a good year for statistically. A recent episode that only came out a month ago, Marching to World War III with Robert Spencer, which I gave a disclaimer at the beginning that this was one of our off-topic episodes. That ended up being our 3rd most listened to episode ever. Not just season 4, but it was number 1 in season 4, but 3rd most listened to episode ever. Almost behind the episode that's the most listened to ever is season 1, episode 1. That's kind of common sense. And season 2, episode 50, surprisingly, did extremely well about polyvagal theory. This one with Robert Spencer. That was our highest listened to episode. Our second highest listened to episode was the first episode we did, the state of working from home in 2023. That's season 4, episode 1. When you and I do episodes, they tend to do quite well. So that was the second most listened to episode. The third most listened to episode, if we were to standardize the data, because obviously the older the episode, the more listens it's going to get. Season 4, episode 5 with Christy Whitman. I don't know if you remember that episode, Adam. Season 4, episode 5. The Art of Having It All and Reclaim Your Spiritual Power with Christy Whitman. That did the third best. That one was a business. It was a hardcore business episode. Those were our top 3 episodes. Adam, you participated in 2 of the 3. So anything surprise you regarding any of those top 3 episodes from season 4?
Mostly that I don't remember them because we did them a long time ago. No, I mean, I'm still just surprised that, people continue to find us and we continue to grow. I mean, it's been just kind of crazy to think that something new that started with a random text has continued to grow and that it's doing what it's doing.
Well, I'll say it's been a lot of fun, especially with the guests we've gotten. It's just always a pleasure when well-known guests reach out to us saying, hey, I want to come on your show. That's always an honor. That's stats for you. Let's do some quick outlook, Adam. How do you think your year is going to go? Just tell us overall. You did say your wife's scaling back. I'll share. Last year when I shared how 2022 was, I said it was a decent year, not great, but it was met my standards. This year, 2023, was a great year. It was such a great year that I even opened up bank accounts for my kids, set up Roth IRAs for them, pay them through that, have had to do some tax strategies because it was such a good year, or some other tax strategies. So it was good, but, I'm knocking on wood. Hopefully that continues, and I think it will. You and I have been doing more real estate stuff, online remote real estate work, and it's worked out really well for both of us, I'd say. I think we made some really good career moves in the middle of this show. Like in 2021 is when we made those moves. And it's definitely paying dividends now with your wife scaling back. And in my case, how successful it's been. It was a good year. I'm not going to complain about it. Hopefully the momentum continues. So just knock on wood. And I think it will, because interest rates are going back down. So I think we'll find ourselves.
This is going to be a good year. So I had a 33% increase in income this year. I'm hoping for at least a 25% increase in income this next year, which I think is very doable.
Yeah,
it's really great to get to the point where, kind of like what you were talking about tax strategy wise, where I'm looking at what accounts can I open so that I can put money in places where it will help me out long term, and I also won't get taxed on it. Just diving into all of the different ways that you can, legally get around not paying taxes, and the things you can do to set yourself, but also your kids up, like what you were talking about with the IRA and all of that. Because, you can pull out money for education, you can pull out money for your first home and not get, hit with early distribution taxes as long as you don't touch the earnings on it. I mean, I've just been on the phone today with people about, turning IRAs into self-directed IRAs so we can use the money to, invest in ways outside of just, indexing the stock market, and, putting it to better use. So, I mean, it's it's been a good year. I'm hoping that by this time next year, a year from now, I hope to have, I'm gonna go. Are we talking about 2024 now fully?
No, we'll
do that at the beginning of next year. But yeah, so that's
that'll be our New Year's episode.
Yeah, I mean it's been good. I mean, we got everything done. Like I said, Erin cut down to at the end of this year, which was right about in line with when we'd wanted her to do it. Because the December month, as you know, for healthcare is awful. So we cut her down just in time, and It's been a good year. We did some family vacations. We did Disney World, and we're able to, just enjoy the time as a family. It's really great when, like you said, work's been good, life's been good, and you're able to just go and, pay for your Disney World trip and not be hemming and hawing over
Yeah.
the nickels and dimes that you're spending. Well, you're not spending
I
nickels
still
and
do
dimes at
that.
Disney World.
Yeah.
But
It's fun to do that. That's why I do it.
we would go, and while we were there, we'd be looking at things that the kids wanted to get or we wanted to get, and we'd just look at each other and like, yeah, put it on my tab, and then just,
Yeah.
Disney loves people like us. We're just like, we're here.
Yep.
We're already spending, 20 grand on the whole trip. So what's another 30? Just put it on my tab.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about, because it's worked out really well for us. And like I said, knock on wood, I'm very thankful every day. I don't know if you experience this, but this definitely aligns with what I've been seeing with the jobs numbers and with the statistics. I've never gone through a year with so many people I know close to me, friends, family, laid off and not being able to find jobs. That's something that if you're listening, keep listening to our show or go back and listen to the 200 episodes or so that we've done on this show. We got a lot of great ideas. During the pandemic, when we started this show, or like at the beginning of the pandemic, when we started this show, it was a lot of low level jobs that had layoffs because of the lockdowns. Restaurants were closed, stores, shops, etc. And now it's hitting the tech sector, especially really tech sector, Wall Street. We saw a banking crisis. We did an episode on this in March of this year where banks went under. It was the worst banking crisis since 2008. I don't know if you have friends or if you know people who've reached out to you, but I was not old enough when 08, 09 happened to where I felt it. But this time around, it's actually pretty crazy how many people I know who've lost their jobs, and they're posting stuff on LinkedIn every day. And they've reached out to me asking for help, advice, support, connections, interviews, you name it.
I haven't, the people I know haven't lost their jobs, but I've definitely felt the tech sector drop has definitely hit Austin real estate in the last few months. That's for sure.
Really? So
Yeah.
has it gone down, the home prices in Austin,
Yeah.
significantly, or just a
Yeah.
little bit?
We're talking like we're 20 to 25% off
I
where
didn't know that.
we have been. Yeah. We're down quite a bit.
So the thing about Tampa, I'm not surprised because I did see San Francisco, Seattle, the Northeast, home values have gone down there. But the thing about Florida is we still get people moving here from those places, and they think the homes are cheap still. The decline we've seen here in Tampa has been like 2%. Well, we saw a more significant decline last year, and then it just came back up once all these incentives were being offered, closing costs waived, etc. The layoffs, I'm noticing it, I'm seeing it. We work in tech and we're thankful. It's real estate tech, so we're thankful that we're good and we're thriving, but other people who we might know are not so much. It'll be interesting to see what they end up doing because many of these jobs have disappeared. And I don't know if you've used artificial intelligence much or AI or chat GPT. In fact, I used it for this podcast. I got a random email saying, hey, here's an AI tool for your podcast. Use it for free. And I used it. It does all your show notes, timestamps, titles, email sends, everything for you. It was crazy. I was like, this is amazing because I know you used to do it and other people do it for $100 an hour or $50 an hour or whatever it might be. And this thing costs like $50 a month to use.
Yeah, well, not bad if you can do it. We just gotta make sure it's good at what it does.
Adam, I know we got to run. We like keeping our episodes under 30 minutes, and we'll be back next week with our first episode of season 5. I can't believe it.
Season 5.
Season 5. We'll be back. We'll talk a little bit more on this subject of AI and the outlook on remote work, if it's here to stay, or if people are being asked to go back into the office. Where do we go from here? I think so far predictions have come true, but we'll talk about that some more. Website again is workfromhomeshow.com. You can add us on social media, Facebook, Twitter. Just type in Work From Home Show. If you have any questions, like I brought up earlier, hello@workfromhomeshow.com. Leave your comments and questions there. And until next year, keep on working from home.